So probably the most common question I get about my gynecomastia surgery is, how much did it cost? So in today's video, I'm going to answer that question and give some advice on ways I believe you can help reduce the overall cost of your gyno surgery. So like I stated at the beginning of this video, I'm going to talk about the cost of my gynecomastia surgery, as well as give some advice on ways I believe you can actually help reduce the overall cost of your gyno surgery. These tips aren't guaranteed to reduce the overall cost. It really varies by surgeon and where you live and certain other things that are factors that play into the cost of surgery. But these things might help, like I said, overall just with your cost. Tip number one to help reduce the overall cost of gynecomastia surgery is to go into the surgery in the best shape of your life. And what I mean by this is you don't have to go in being like this completely swole dude who's just like jacked to the nines and like just can crush anything, but try and lose as much weight as possible if you are overweight already, and try and get your chest at least to be in somewhat good shape. So if that means you have your surgery in, let's say, 3 months out, start trying to lose weight, maybe hit the gym, try and work out your chest. And the reason for this is, one, if you are overweight, the surgeon's going to obviously have to do more lipo then to remove the fat that's in this area with the gynecomastia. And secondly, if you are overweight or you're not in an ideal place with your chest overall, it might be harder for your surgeon to actually assess your gyno and be able to figure out what's natural fat and what's gyno. And it could lead to larger scarring with the overall result of the surgery. Plus, like I said, having to just remove more, which obviously can lead to a higher cost of your surgery. All right, so the second tip of advice for potentially reducing the cost of your gyno surgery is visit a surgeon who offers free consultations. So in the area that I got my gynecomastia surgery, there were quite a few surgeons that offered the process or offered the surgery for gynecomastia, but some of them you had to pay like actually pretty high prices just to even get a consultation. And the thing is you, like I said with the first one with losing weight, you shouldn't have to pay money. And yes, that money did go towards the surgery, but you shouldn't have to pay money to go and get a consultation and an expert opinion from a surgeon on, one, how bad your gyno is, and two, just looking at like what the cost would be and what the surgery procedure would look like, and three, getting answers to questions you may have about your personal gynecomastia. So you've seen this video and you might have seen other videos of mine on gynecomastia, and there's other people on YouTube who have gyno videos up that answer questions. But the thing is I'm not answering the direct questions to your personal experience with your gynecomastia. And the only person that can do that is a professional, a surgeon who is someone who has dealt with gynecomastia and can see where you're at. So having to pay to even get that expert opinion is already way more than you should spend just to get that. The surgeon I got my surgery from offered a free consultation, which actually gave me more peace of mind knowing that the surgeon was willing to consult my condition and consult it, taking the risk that I might not go with that surgeon. That gave me a peace of mind knowing that the surgeon really does care about consulting and making sure I get an expert opinion, and then if I want to, go and get maybe a second opinion from another surgeon. But I just feel that that is one thing you should not have to do when it comes to looking at getting the surgery, is having to pay even to get in the door of your said surgeon or whoever that surgeon might be, just to see how bad your gyno is and where you should go from there. Now, one thing I do want to add for those surgeons who do charge just to do a consultation, like I said, I do know that charge goes towards the actual surgery if you choose to go with that surgeon. And you should also not let price be the deciding factor in why you get the surgery. There should be a multitude of things that lead to you choosing that surgeon for the surgery. So don't let price or the fact of like I said, paying for a consultation be the reason you don't go with the surgeon if that surgeon is someone that you just absolutely are like in love with and you want them to do your surgery. So just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's always good. All right, so the last piece of advice for the gynecomastia surgery and helping reduce the price is see if your insurance will cover it. So in my personal case, the insurance would not cover the surgery. Actually, I think most insurance companies, at least company provided insurance companies in the US, will not cover gynecomastia surgery, as it's considered a cosmetic surgery that's not like life-threatening or a necessary thing. So it's considered like more of a glamorous expense, or like a beauty charge, or I don't even know what you would call it, but it's not really considered dire for an insurance company to cover. But I do know I've had a ton of commenters from other countries say that they had their insurance company cover it, and there are some where their gynecomastia is what would be considered a grade 3, where it's extremely bad, and they might be able to convince the insurance company to cover it. I was only a grade 2, and that isn't somewhere where insurance companies feel it is necessary to cover those charges. So I did pay out of pocket, but what could help reduce your overall cost is checking with your insurance company before getting the surgery done. All right, and so with that, I am going to reveal the almighty number of what my surgery cost. And that cost for me to get the surgery done was $8,000 US. So I know what you're thinking, man, that's a pretty high, steep price when you think about the overall cost of surgery and maybe some other numbers that you've seen thrown around on the internet. But there are some factors to take into consideration for my surgery. One, I was a grade 2, which if you look at the scale of gynecomastia, that's kind of right in the middle. It's basically you have an enlarged nipple or a puffy nipple with a gland of tissue under, but you don't actually have any real sign of gynecomastia outside of the actual areola region, which would be like a grade 2B, and then getting into grade 3. Another thing to consider with the cost when you're looking at your surgery, and then even mine costing $8,000, is where you live and where you're getting the surgery. So being in Seattle has a higher cost of living compared to the majority of the United States. And that usually equates into most things that you purchase in your life. And so one, for a surgery, you got to think that surgeon's overhead is probably higher for their private practice than maybe a private practice in, let's say, like Missouri, or somewhere that's more of a smaller state where there's not many larger cities, or the cost of living might not be so high. And also, when you look at the scale of cost of gynecomastia in the United States, gynecomastia surgery roughly averages about $6,000 to the upper range of $10,000, almost $11,000 US to get the surgery. So I'm right there in the middle, just like I'm a grade 2, or I was a grade 2, which is right there in the middle. And like I said, just because a surgeon is cheap doesn't mean it's always good. If a surgeon is offering a price for the surgery that just doesn't seem right for, like I said, the area you live in terms of like cost of living and other surgeons and what they're offering, it should probably be a red flag that maybe I shouldn't go with this surgeon. But there you have it. That was the cost of my surgery. I hope that answers your questions if you have any about the cost of surgery. Like I stated at the beginning of this video, your cost will definitely vary from mine because your gynecomastia and your experience with gyno varies from mine in a multitude of things. So the most guaranteed answer that you will get to how much your gyno surgery will cost is actually going and seeing a surgeon in person and getting assessed with your gynecomastia. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, show it some love by hitting the like button, and leave a comment with any questions you have about gynecomastia, the surgery, and the healing process, and I will answer them to the best of my knowledge. And as always, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you guys can get updates on when I'm uploading my next video. Thanks for watching.